Hello Cyclocross friends, and welcome back for another track walk. Today we are looking at the World Cup course of Jingle Cross in Iowa City, Iowa. On the day that I filmed this, which was Thursday, it was sunny out. Right now, out my window, it's raining, so conditions may change. It's already a little wet on course as we go down the starting stretch here. We just crossed under the finish line for the World Cup race. We're actually coming up to a second finish line. This is going to be for the C1 and C2 races. C2 on Friday night and then a C1 on Sunday. This is the first couple little grass turns. Nice calm as far as topography goes to the start of this race, but it's going to be chaos back in here with all of these twists and turns. It really will spread out the field quickly as we come up on that grass off camber. That could be a real problem if we get the rain that we're expected today. That could turn into a huge mudslide, and you could see a lot of the field struggling early on. If you're at the front of the field, you could escape, and we could see some riders off the front early. We're coming up to our first World Cup feature. You'll see that the course goes underneath this for the C1 and C2 and amateur races. We're going to jump over the tape here and go up top. I love this section. It reminds me a little bit of the World Cup Namur race on that long off camber. If you get that long shot of it, you see some really nice views coming through there. Back to another twists and turns as we stay on the grass before we get to our more interesting features. We're coming up on pit number 1. Really nice, wide, long pit. I love how this pit's set up. It's coming up after it straight into your first flyover. Two-way traffic on this flyover. On the first time, we're going to head up and over. And as soon as you're there, you're preparing for the biggest obstacle, biggest feature on the course. This is Mount Crumpit. Couple railroad ties down there at the bottom, and then it's just a long slog up. Looks much better when you speed up the film really fast. Okay, we're going to make our descent back down Mount Crumpit, and we're getting to our next feature. This is part of the course is feature heavy. We're coming into this a really fast approach into this sand section through the horse arena, and this sand right now is really compact. It's really pressed into the ground and should be really fast unless they come in there and groom it and knock it all up, and then it could be more interesting. Hopefully that happens, because as it is now, it's just like a big dirt field. Around the bend we go and back into the woods. The climbing on this section of the course is pretty intense. You run up Mount Crumpit, or if you're that good, you can ride up it. You go down, you go through the sand, and then right away you're really riding up the back part of Mount Crumpit one more time. So here we are on our ascent. This is where a lot of folks struggle, and you really don't see it. It's kind of a hidden part of the course. It's a tough one. We've seen folks crack on this section in the past. This is a difficult course. A lot of the European riders in the past have complained that it's just too hard too early in the season. I think as American cyclocross fans, we take that as a badge of honor, and I love to see it. All right, most scenic part of the course and most fun to watch, especially if you're down below looking up at it. This is the back and forths coming down the switchbacks of this Mount Crumpit descent. A little change right here. This one was not here. This last bend into this final descent. Last year, that descent was a lot longer and a lot faster. You just saw people rail in that turn. I think the speeds are going to be much lower because of that extra kink in the switchbacks this year. Up and over the flyover one more time. That's the same flyover we were on just minutes ago. Here we are at pit 2. And at this point, for most of us racing cyclocross, we're thinking, all right, lap's about over. That was a pretty intense lap. It was pretty long. There was a lot in there. It was hard, but hey, okay, first off, got our planks. A little lower planks again. We should see most of the field not having to dismount in the men's, and we should see a few of the women riding those as well. Through the barn and the Christmas lights. It's always a fun place to hang out during the race. And yeah, we're still going here. This is a little bit of respite, unless of course you're attacking to get to the stairs first. First time on the staircase is always chaos throughout there. I think it's just something that every rider looks forward to because the lap's almost over. However, before the lap is over, we have even more climbing. We're going to go about a third of the way up Mount Crumpit one more time. The descent we just did was over on the left. and then we're going to jump over the tape again to take you to this World Cup part. This is one of my favorite inclines on the course. It goes up and against and to an angle up the hill, which makes it a really difficult climb. You know, I always say, like, in the US, we want to make we're very angular. We either want to go straight up the hill or straight across the hill. If you go at an angle, a lot of Belgian races do that. It makes it much more difficult. That's what Jingle Cross has done here. So that's a fun little section. Yeah, I'm talking over all of these U-turns that we have set up. Little interesting corners there you can see on the triangles that they've padded. That may come into play. You don't want to cut those turns too fast, but you may have to, because that's setting up for your sprint. You see the starting grid right there, and here we are. We're sprinting for home. This is the end of the lap. This is Jingle Cross World Cup race on Saturday. C1 followed on Sunday. We will have more on Crosshairs Television.